supports the verdict that the Rose influence have attributed to the decline of Portuguese activities within the Mtapa state, which means that we are saying what have made the Portuguese to seize their political, economic, or to seize the Prazo system. Chakaita kuti maPortuguese varege kuramba vachienderera mberi nePrazo system. Andika kana chitaura Prazo system tinotsvaga its political, economic and social influence within the Mtapa state. Andika saka kuti chakaita kuti maPortuguese arege kuramba achita zvaaita Mtapa state inyaya yekuti kwaka managed to rise a strong army which attributed to about 10,000 soldiers. So when Changamire Dombo became so strong to that extent, the Mutapa inhabitants, they voluntarily joined him, and other surrounding communities such as the Kalanga, the Tavara and the Korekore, they voluntarily joined Changamire Dombo, or they voluntarily joined the Rose state. Means that the Portuguese could not infiltrate again within the Rose. Why? Because he had a strong army to defend himself. And my activities battled. Furthermore, infiltration theory, as we explain the fact that infiltration theory, it means they were infiltrating other states. And so in this case, we say that when Changamire Dombo, or when Changa get more influence, he managed to incorporate the.
It's your intellect once again with another mind-blowing strategy for History 2025 exam preparation. Take note of the following. Imagine having a crystal ball for the 2025 history exam. What if you could see the future and know which questions are most likely to appear? We've done the deep dive into past history exams to give you an exclusive sneak peek into the most probable topics for 2025. This isn't just theory, it's a strategic roadmap to your success.
I welcome you all, guys. It's your intellect once again. In this segment, before you have watched this video, you must know the location of the intellect. So guys, many people, they wonder where they can find me. Guys, you can find me in Unit O, in Chitungwiza. Those are the numbers on my screen, and those are the subjects in which I offer. So mukauya kuchitungwiza Unit O, padhuze nepataita, or just close to Seke 5 High School. Mukangobata number dzirapo munondiwana. Those who want to join, certain people, they think that maybe I only teach online lessons. No, I teach both online and physical lessons. So for more evaluations, you contact the number on the screen. Thank you for your support, YouTubers. Thank you for your support, TikTokers, and also those who are on Instagram and those who are on Facebook. Keep on supporting your internet. Shalom. Watch the next video and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share. Examine the view that the Rose were responsible for the decline of Portuguese activities. Portuguese activities this is one of our major elements here. So the question says, examine that the Rose were responsible for the decline of the Rose activities in the Mtapa state in the 7th century. So you write, the question demands candidates to review that the decline of the Rose activities in the Mtapa state, the decline of the Rose activities within the Mtapa state were linked to the rise of the Rose state, were linked to the rise of the Rose state, were linked to the rise of the Rose state, were linked to the rise of the Rose state. However, good candidates cannot forget that. Good candidates cannot forget that. Good candidates cannot forget that the decline of Rose activities, the decline of Rose activities within the Mtapa state, the decline of Rose activities within the Mtapa state were attributed to its internal factors and other factors. Were linked to its internal factors and other factors. Pama other factors apamogona unyora nyaye the coming of the Ndebele, the colonization of Zimbabwe were linked to internal factors within the Mtapa state. Right. Sakapana apa. These are points which support the verdict that the Rose influence is attributed to the decline of Portuguese activities within the Mtapa state, which means that we are saying what have made the Portuguese to seize their political, economic, or to seize the Prazo system. Chakaita kuti maPortuguese varege kuramba vachienderera mberi nePrazo system. Andika kana chitaura Prazo system tinotsvaga its political, economic and social influence within the Mtapa state. Andika saka kuti chakaita kuti maPortuguese arege kuramba achita zvaaita Mtapa state inyaya yekuti kwakauya machi the Rose, the rise. Saka question nemamwe mashoko eri kuti the rise of the Rose state ndo yakakonzeresa kuti pave decline of the Portuguese activities, kana kuti ndo yakakonzeresa kuti maPortuguese abude muMutapa state. Tauranaka. So what are the factors we are going to include here? We have got what we call the Rose title. So this point is how can we explain this point? And do remember, do not forget about this. Right. Saka chiri kuitika. The Rose title, we are saying that the term Rose, the Rose title the Rose, it was a nickname from the word Kuronja. So what have happened is that the Portuguese activities have stopped or have declined within the Mtapa state because they rose when Changamire Dombo rose to power, or Changamire Dombo managed to rise a strong army which attributed to about 10,000 soldiers. So when Changamire Dombo became so strong to that extent, the Mutapa inhabitants, they voluntarily joined him and other surrounding communities such as the Kalanga, the Tavara, and the Korekore. They voluntarily join Changamire Dombo, or they voluntarily join the Rose state. Why? Because they wanted protection from the Portuguese influence, which means that the Portuguese could do along with them, could not do along, I mean to say, with the Mtapa state. Why? Vanga vako not, and it vaita trade. Vaita vanga vasisina mukano kuramba vachita all those activities, because vari Mtapa state vaida tumwe tuma external states twekupota vachinotengesera zvinhu. Saka tuma states totopa takazviti susu taakunzi Rose vanga vasisina mukano kunopinda, and what have made them to do so? Vaitya, they feared Changamire Dombo's army to an extent that they ran away because they knew that Changamire Dombo was going to attack them. Eventually, in fact, they were attacked by him when they influence, then they were driven away to the Delagoa Bay and their activity were doomed. And furthermore, totemism. By the time when the Rose title have been influenced, those of the Moyo totem, they voluntarily joined the Rose state because vaikoshesa kuti ane mutupo wakafanana nesu ane power. Saka this have made many individuals, those who were within the Mtapa state, to move from the Mtapa and join the Rose state, to whom one of their individuals with the Moyo totem was dominant, leading to the decline of the Mtapa state and to the rise of the Rose state. As the state rose to power, it means that the Portuguese could not infiltrate again within the Rose. Why? Because he had a strong army to defend himself. And my activities battled. Furthermore, infiltration theory, as we explain the fact that infiltration theory, it means they were infiltrating other states. And so in this case, we say that when Changamire Dombo, or when Changa get more influence, he managed to incorporate the Torwa state, the Tavara, and the Gore. These were surrounding states around the Mtapa. So as these surrounding states around Mtapa infiltrated within Rose, and it has made the Mtapa to decline. Why? Because other also individuals within the Mtapa state, they could not continue to pursue their political activities. Why vasiri kwanisa pursue their political activities? Inyaya yekuti Rose state yakura, andika saka vanhu vari kuita voluntarily join. Saka it means that somehow the Mtapa state was now weak as compared to the Rose. Saka kana Mtapa ya weak, Rose iri great. Andika zvareva kuti voluntarily the individuals within the Mtapa state, they have joined. Sunday amuna mapini momo. Mapini apera. Saka unodza believer anopuwa na anodzana anonopuwa alright, anonopuwa na baba tada chiripo. Alright abo. Right. Saka tiri kuti isusu zvikuitika panapa ndezvekuti muMtapa state vanga vasasakwanise kuramba vakamisa state richigrowa. Andika why state ravo rava weak iri rava, saka painfiltration panototaurwa nemashoko, vamwe vanotaura vachiti the Mtapa individuals they voluntarily join Changamire Dombo. Amunoziva vaita voluntary join Changamire Dombo, zvakabva zvaita kuti maPortuguese vashaye kuti voenda nekupi. Hapana pavacharamba vachipesuwa maactivities avo. Why? Because the state kudhara raitwa give away kunani, kuna Changamire Dombo, because they were infiltrated. Infiltration iri pakawanda. Unogona kuexplaina uchiti Changamire Dombo paakarise to power akabva akonga vana Mtapa kings because vanga vari passive. Andika when he grew power awana mombe akaita large following, ndobva atoforsa Mutapa kuti submit kwaari. Saka zvakabva zvaita futi kuti maPortuguese vasarambe vachipesuwa their activities muMtapa state nekuti yakutongwa naDombo. Furthermore, headsman theory it states that Changamire Dombo rose to power as a headman. He was heading cattle under Mukombwe. As he was heading cattle under Mukombwe, this has made him to accumulate wealth. As he accumulated wealth, he grew his army and his followers, and this has made him to defeat the Mtapa kings. And as the Mtapa kings were defeated, the state changed its name from Mtapa to Roche. And this has forced the Portuguese to run away because now they could not infiltrate within his politics. Then furthermore, mysticism, he was a magician. It is said that he could change the color of a kettle. So they feared him because they say he had supernatural powers. So as he grew his influence through magician, Changamire Dombo, zvakabva zvaita kuti maPortuguese vamutye kuti hatikwanise kuita go align with this man paakatora Mtapa state. Akuita Roche. Then, however, despite that, the Rove influence have made the Portuguese activities to decline within the Rose state. We cannot forget internal factors that have made the Portuguese to move away from the Mtapa state. For example, there were succession disputes among the Mtapa kings, and the Portuguese could not keep on aligning with the Mtapa people. Why? Because mairamba mune internal wars, and zvakaita kuti my activities avave disrupted. Because you cannot practice trade, you cannot practice farming where at least there is continuity of war. And furthermore, there was the rise of Mukombwe. When Mukombwe rose to power, he defeated the Portuguese to the north west of Zimbabwe. And saka zvakabva zvaita kuti maPortuguese vaite se vasarambe varimo. Economically, there was exhaustion of resources. The Portuguese have came within the Mtapa state for them to practice their economic activities. Why? There were plenty of resources, for example, gold, copper, iron, and other resources. As these resources exhausted, this have forced the Portuguese to run away from the state. Furthermore, there were persistent drought. within the Mutapa state, so is in terms of farming produce. Vanga vasasakwanise kuramba vachiwana vachiproducer zvinhu. Saka zvakabva zvaita kuti vabude. Also socially there was overpopulation. Vanga vasakwanise kuramba was the available resources and the available population zvasasaitese zvisisiri balanced. Above all, toita nyaya outbreak of diseases such as vana cholera, vana chichi, zvakabva zvaita kuti maPortuguese hatizi vachienda kuma health environments. And saka ndozvaona ukada unozoita further explain uchitotaura nyaya dzekuti chimwe futi chakaita kuti vatize inyaya the coming of the Ndebele. Handika vamwe vanogona kuita confusion yepoint handikutaura. Ndakati kana tiri kunuku hatiti kana state radecline, kana zvinzi state radecline kureva kuti harisisina influence asi ririko. Ubabata ndosaka uchiona kuti Rose state inototaura kunzi yakakonzereswa decline nekuuya kwemaBritish. Rose state yaitova Ndebele state iriko. Ubabata but yanga isisina that much power. Ndosaka uchiona kuti panotozonzi colonization in Mashonaland. Dei kwanga kusina Rose state iya yakanga iripo mana Mutapa nachi vaivako Mashona but maNdebele varichi dominant. Ndosaka uchizonzwa zvinzi vakauya vakaraisa Union Jack vairaisa kupi kune Mashonaland kuratidza kuti kwaiva nevanhu vaigara ikoko netuma states twavo twainge tuchiexista but influence of those states ndo yanga yangopera. Zvakafanana nanhasi tingati here Jinimbazi haazi Mbinga influence yake yakapera noti kwakauya Wikineo, but hazvirevi kuti Jinimba hana mari, hazvirevi kuti Tagwire hana mari. Tagwire ane mari but kwete yakawanda seya Wikineo. Izvezvi tikanzitaura Mbinga muZimbabwe unongoti Wikineo, but hazvirevi kuti Tagwire hana mari. Tagwire anayo but yakukundwa influence yayo neani neachifara. Tikunzwanana here panapa. Saka inyaya yeinfluence. Anobabata hatigoni kuzoti uyu haasistorina mari. Yake yekushanda yekutoti achiri millionaire. Masiwa chaindi millionaire muno muZimbabwe. But hatitaure nezvake nekuti hatisi kuona umillionaire hwacho, huinfluence hwumillionaire hwacho other than ani Chifai. Ndosaka uchiona kuti hakuna munhu anobuda achiti vaWikineo vamasiwa ndipeiwo mota nekuti havana kubvira vakambopa munhu mota, but hazvirevi kuti havana mari yekupa vanhu mota. Are we getting it? Ndozvikuitika. Saka vanhu ukatadza kuanalyze mafacts ukatoudzwa zverozvo apa unototi ndiri kudhomoka. No, handisi kudhomoka. ZveNdebele ndikuziva zvandiri kutotaura. Tawirirana? Ndonhau dzangu idzodzo. Any question mubvunze.